Hi, I'm Katie, part of the Eliza Mac Fabrics rep team. Today I'm going to do a small tutorial to show you how to do the snap placket, which is the crotch opening of the overalls. It's great for smaller babies because you can easily open the bottom of the outfit and lift it up. If you've got a slightly older child, people often don't bother and they will just open the top snaps and pull them down. But for smaller babies, it can be a bit easier to have the dual opening option. So as you've seen in that video, I have been sewing together my little pair of overalls. So I've sewn the lining onto the inside, I have sewn the top part closed, and I have sewn the side seams. I haven't sewn on the cuffs, and I haven't sewn on my snap placket yet. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew on my leg cuffs. So I've got my leg cuff here, so I'm going to find my centre point the way that you normally do, by folding it in half, and I normally do a little snip. I didn't when I first started, got a bit more confident these days. So I've got a little snip in there, and then I will fold that up and line it up to the outer edge of my leg, and then I will stretch the leg cuff to meet that edge, and then I will stretch it to meet the other edge. Don't worry that you're going to have a raw edge showing at the moment, because the snap placket will cover that when we put that on. Right, so I've sewn my cuffs on. So you'll see I've still got my raw edge showing on the outside. So that's the bit that's going to get covered when we put on our snap placket. So for our snap placket, before we sew it onto the overalls, I've got one of mine here, so you should have two, one for each side, one for the front and one for the back. And you should also have two pieces of interfacing. This is stretch interfacing. Not going to stretch it too much because it will really distort it before I sew it, but it is stretch interfacing, which will stretch with the garment. It makes the snaps a little bit tricky to actually undo because the fabric will want to stretch. But it means that you can actually sew onto the item, whereas if you use something like cotton, because there's not much stretch to that, it won't move with the item. So I am going to fold this. I'm going to put this on top actually first of my interfacing, line it all up nicely, and then I am going to fold it right sides together along the long edge. I've got a long piece of fabric, and then I've got this edge, and I'm going to sew along this edge on both ends, okay? And I'm going to do the same to the other piece, and then I'll tell you what to do. So once you have sewn the ends of your snap crotch placket, you can turn it the right way around, and you'll now have a nice neat edge on the outside, which is what will show at the bottom of the leg cuffs. So now you need to find the center point of this piece. You need to match it up with either the front or the back of your overall bottoms, and then you need to line up the edge of the placket to the edge of the cuff. I don't know if you can see that very well on my dark fabric. So you need to line that up, put a pin on it or a clip on it. I like to use clips for the overlocker because I have broken the blade before, and it's a little bit terrifying when the blade comes flying towards your face. So you need to clip that in place, clip the center point once you found it, and then sew along that edge. So this is the one that I've already clipped in place. So I'm going to sew along this edge, which will leave this with a nice neat edge, and the other end with a nice neat edge, and a little bit for my snap placket. So now I have sewn on my snap placket on both sides, so that when I put the overalls together, give me a second. I've got one side that can go on top, one side that can go on underneath. You'll need snaps on it still. It's got a nice neat edge. This tail, I have got a little special little doodah prim mending hook, which is great for putting down the seams, sliding down till it pokes out the other end, catching the tail, and then as you pull it back it closes around it and pulls it through. And then I'll cut that off there, leaving that end looking pretty neat. The Ukrainian president is the concession that he is potentially making. Right, so that should be all done. If you just put your snaps on, like I've just been doing, then you should be ready to snap together the crotch, like this. See if you can see me doing it. These are made out of this beautiful French terry. It was going to be for me, but you know what it's like. The kids always nick your stuff. I haven't sewn down my inside lining yet, so do forgive the random threads that you might see, but I've used pink for my top snaps. I don't normally bother top stitching. I know that some people prefer how it looks, but I don't, and it takes time, so therefore I don't do it. But I've got my little pair of overalls with when Bubba needs nappy change, I can now just open them up. Perfect. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. It's my first that I've ever done. So fantastic.